Thank you again for coming. My duties include tending to these rites of remembrance. Excellent. Manfred found his way down. Very good, Manfred.
He sounds excited.
I thought we'd start the rites here. A tableau of the dead, commissioned 173 years ago. These lives were flickers against the ages, precious, fragile, and finite. Now they serve as a warning. Don't linger overlong in the gloom. Live with grace and fervor while you may.
No one's gonna seize the day for you.
Just so. That one's livelier. Here. Who were you when you breathed above?
This body was a tailor's, a mother's. She laughed and taught and wove the robes kings wore when they were crowned.
Tja. Someone must realign her thoracic vertebrae. I hope the novices are inspecting the displays.
Seems disrespectful to abandon something you built.
Precisely. No wonder there's been an uptick in hauntings.
Wait, what?
Let's continue.
Hi? Should I say hi?
It's curious about you. We're also enjoying the gardens, but we've one last ritual ahead. On your way, my friend.
Spirits really are your specialty.
I've always had a rapport with them. Even as a child, they were my companions.
After you started training here?
After I was orphaned.
Oh.
A collapsed building, swift deaths. After the funeral, the Watchers took me in.
They thought the necropolis was the best place for an orphan?
Better to learn death dwells all about us than be deaf when it calls. Yet, I was terrified of everything when I arrived.
And you still joined the Watchers?
They're what saved me.
So you were really afraid of this place as a child?
It wasn't the necropolis itself, but what was draped around it. Have you ever been frightened by the thought of dying, Rook?
Well, hasn't everyone from time to time?
When I was younger, it happened more often than that. That's when I discovered I possess a great terror of dying. It goes beyond dread. Can't be reasoned with or soothed over. It comes without warning. In the dead of night, in sunlit streets, a raw, strangling fear struck somewhere deep past the heart.
That's an issue for a necromancer.
Oddly, I discovered I wasn't alone. I debated this fear with friends. I argued with teachers. Yet, it lingered. Manfred's right. That's maudlin enough. There are struggles, but a Watcher should always find peace amongst the graves. And what sort of host would I be if we didn't end with some light refreshment?
Did you set all this up to make a good impression?
Of course not. I was only...
Because it's working.
Then it's my pleasure to share the tranquility of this place with you. Ah, hello there. Just admiring how carefully the Fade is woven into this place, as cultivated as a palace garden.
That's old elven stuff for you. Magic everywhere you look. And also where you don't.
I do envy you, Rook.
Really?
The Lords of Fortune have a reputation as boisterous treasure hunters in Navarra. Not to mention traveling with Varric. The adventures you've already had.
You cut a pretty intriguing figure yourself. Do you really think of me as some grand adventurer?
Well, something thrills at traveling with a daring young woman who's racing to stop an apocalypse. Especially if she's shown unexpected interest in a new companion.
Well, the distinguished looks don't hurt your chances.
I'm fortunate you think so. May I show you something of the greater Fade here?
Go ahead.
Close your eyes. Take a breath. Slow. Deep. Be born on the great currents. See now as they see. When I talk to the dead, their echoes abide with me. Thoughts and passions, hopes and desires. The shades of death have greater depths than you may know, Rook. If your attentions go beyond charming flattery, that would interest me, indeed.
Well, the death stuff is...
You finished the reagent. Excellent work, Manfred. I must tend to this, but I'd be delighted if we found each other later. Now, what do you have to say for yourself?
Did I miss something?
Since we're here to gather flowers for the dead, I thought I'd teach Manfred some plant names. But I just caught him attempting to wade into a rose bush.
Emmrich, how could you stay annoyed at that face? Skull.
Oh, Manfred. Whatever will happen to you if I pass on?
If?
There's something I'd like to talk about. Do you know what a lich is, Rook?
Doesn't ring a bell.
A lich is a mage transformed into one of the undead while retaining their true, original consciousness. The idea fascinated me when I was younger. For years, I researched and experimented, spoke with spirits and mages. Then, eventually, I found them.
Who?
The Lich Lords of the Grand Necropolis. Necromancers before me who'd transformed themselves into true living dead.
You're making this up, right?
Rook, please. I've told so few people.
Sorry.
The Liches are the great protectors of the necropolis, bulwarks against forces that threaten creation. After years of tests and rituals, they granted me my desire, the right to attempt lichdom.
Hold on. If you become a lich, then all this flirting we've been doing...
I should hate to lose your company while I'm still mortal.
What would you being a lich be like?
A vast leap. Flesh cast aside for bone, returned immortal for all time.
And you'd be a powerful, undead mage with secrets beyond mortal understanding?
A cherished desire.
That's perfect.
Oh, I'd inform you before making any decisions to... Well, questions of lichdom are... Lichdom is an incredible honor. Immortality, prestige, the most hallowed ranks of the Watchers, as well as a chance to be of service past my allotted years. But there are considerations. Come, we have flowers to gather for the dead.
Okay, but I've got questions.
Blue creepvine. This will do nicely.
Emmrich, aren't most undead just random spirits inside corpses?
Liches are different. It wouldn't be a spirit acting in my name. My true consciousness would be housed in my departed flesh.
How?
The Order must keep some secrets. Moon blossoms, famed in verse and song.
Smells like perfume. Do liches have a sense of smell?
I've been told that while some of my senses will dull, others will become available. Other than that, I can't say if the flowers would still hold their bloom for me. Lichdom serves a purpose. There are dark things in creation, threats to both our world and the Fade. The Liches of the Necropolis have the insight and the abilities to oppose them.
And you're joining them when?
Certain elements have held me back. There's no ready instructions for lichdom. The steps must be discovered on one's own over years to be fully understood.
Does the spell to become a lich kill you, or do you have to...
No, mercifully, that falls to another Watcher. After my death, my soul will be drawn back into my body instead of moving on to whatever lies beyond.
So, what's holding you back from lichdom?
Even with all my preparations, there's a chance I could die, permanently, during the rites. What cowardice. A promise of immortality, an end to all my fears, and the final veil stays my hand.
That's reasonable. Lots of people are afraid of dying.
Is it? When it keeps me from what I most desire? Traditionally, candidates for lichdom face one final sifting of the soul. If they avoid it, you saw my old colleague.
Hezenkos. She's a lich.
A half-lich, though that hasn't diminished her powers. Until I stop her plans, I won't possess the peace of mind for lichdom. Why don't you select the next flowers, Rook?
Sure. So what's a half-lich exactly?
Johanna attempted the rites of lichdom and failed. Stuck in her in-between state, she is supremely dangerous, but can't learn any new magic.
No wonder Hezenkos was shouting so much.
Oh, she's always been that way.
What about the sifting of a soul that Hezenkos avoided?
The spirits of the necropolis judge whether a candidate is worthy of the power and responsibility of lichdom.
How'd she become a lich without it?
I shared some knowledge when we were colleagues. She apparently put together more than I knew. It would be just like her to skip the rituals, the cleansings, the preparations of the soul.
For a watcher, Hezenkos is pretty harsh on spirits.
We made allowances because of her discoveries. Too many. Spirits are not things to be disposed of.
You really care about them?
They're so susceptible to the world's whims, Rook. Some spirits are dangerous, but how quickly most respond to a bit of kindness, or care, or simple attempt to understand. For all she's done, I can't condemn Johanna for attempting lichdom. That freedom from mortality, that divorce from fear. And of course, time to read all of one's books.
Of course.
But how she's abused her abilities. Are my intentions enough to fare better?
Worrying's a good sign.
We have enough flowers. There's something I'd like to show you. Here we are.
Oh, so these flowers are for...
Yes. If you could place them on the graves, please.
In memory of Rupert and Eleonora Volkarin, they walk eternity hand in hand.
After I became a watcher, I erected a proper shrine to my parents. When I come to talk, I like to think they listen. Well, don't be shy. Introduce yourself.
Rook, it's a pleasure. Do you remember your parents?
Some memories are bright. Others are akin to those dim early morning dreams one gets sometimes. Lately, I wondered what they'd think of our current course, the choices ahead.
Your lichdom?
What would they have wanted me to be?
Happy with someone who cares for you.
Shroud's Kiss. I've always loved the legend around this flower. They say it grows on lovers' graves, and that one moves closer to the fade simply by inhaling its fragrance.
Is that true?
It is when I will it, my dear.
What else?
What a day of unexpected splendor. How did you find everything?
Best meal I've had in a graveyard.
One advantage of being senior staff is requisitioning the kitchen's better cooks.
You did that just for me?
I'd hoped the evening might impress. The amount of work on you worries me, Rook. Responsibility exacts a toll on the body.
Sorry to disappoint. I'm feeling great.
Oh, that bright cheer. I do ask that you at least avoid putting pressure on that stiff left wrist.
It's a little stiff. Impressed you spotted it.
Well, I am familiar with the finer points of anatomy. It's good we made time for this. A couple should get to know one another in comfort.
Time to dig into our feelings?
I'd be delighted if the mood moves you.
What's your favorite color?
Well, can I only choose one?
Let me guess. Black, green, yellow, but like a bone yellow.
Lilac.
Ah, of course you went to a flower.
It's such a pretty shade of purple. It brings thoughts of spring. And what's your favorite shade of color?
Rich purple. The kind you get with those really expensive dyes.
It's the color of royalty in some kingdoms.
Maybe I've got ambitions. Devastating charm aside, what do you like about me?
Apart from the compliment of your interest,
Come on.
darling, it's gratifying a fresh-faced adventurer noticed me at all. And your spirit does charm, but there's also something quite indomitable about you, Rook. It inspires.
Oh, thanks. This is one of the more romantic dates I've been on.
How wonderful. I was afraid I'd lost my touch. Between work and research and teaching Manfred, there hasn't been time lately for company.
How lately?
No one's serious for a few years. Apart from that, I'd prefer we leave the past be.
All right. Stay a man of mystery. Anyway, should we enjoy the garden?
Certainly. They're wondering what we're up to. Wisps are ever attracted to the gardens.
Like you?
The Fade is close here. As our spirits I count as guides and friends. Beyond that, I feel there are mysteries past our comprehension. Something beyond the weft of magic or deepest Fade. When I'm fortunate, I spy suggestions of them here.
You're so philosophical around flowers.
It's the purpose of the gardens, to lift our thoughts to something higher and finer than we are.
Like that.
Sometimes, my dear, I think you indulge me.
When I'm in the mood.
I heard another rumor, Emmrich,
What is your latest hearsay?
that you and Rook are getting tight. Making eyes, warming the cockles of your heart, tugging at the old bone.
That's quite enough.
Sure, but if you need any tips on hand-to-bone combat,
My dear young Deborah, I know perfectly well what I'm doing.
make that your next book.
I don't understand why you're bringing so many books.
Well, I don't see what your objections are to my taking a canopy.
We're only going for 2 days.
You've hardly brought more than a flask and a bedroll.
Should I send a search party out for you two in a couple of days?
No.
Of course not.
Emmrich wants to see more of Ferelden, so we're going camping. But he's treating it like we're going to an academic thing.
An expedition can have its earthly comforts.
You want to bring a shaving kit in the woods.
My dear Harding, a gentleman is never without a brush and a razor.
The whole point of going to the wilds is to get away from all that. So what if you get muddy and smell a little bad?
One can enjoy the scenery while remembering to bathe.
Emmrich, you always look good. And you can tell me all about the trip when you get back.
Of course, darling. It is only 2 days after all.
Exactly. So why are you packing a dressing gown? I don't understand the gown.
Harding, do you need to be so stringent when you're camping?
Yes, because you have to carry all the gear yourself. Up the mountain, across the creeks and things.
Don't you carry any luxuries yourself?
I bring my writing kit.
Aha!
Fine. Maybe your umbrella could come in handy.
I really have looked forward to you showing me more of your home, Harding.
Me too. Oh, and I'll make us sandwiches.
Ah, your famous ham and jam slam?
Well, yam and jam slam because you don't eat meat. So I'll use yams.
How thoughtful. Thank you, Harding.
So you're with Rook now?
We're exploring the matter, yes?
Good. I hope you two do good stuff.
Thank you, Tosh.
Just don't do corpse stuff in bed.
What?
No, sorry, you're right. It's not my stuff. Do corpse stuff in bed if you want to.
Thank you, Tosh, for the sentiment.
Emmrich, if you liked someone, what would you do? To show them you like them, I mean.
Strangely enough, I might have found myself in that situation recently.
You mean you and Rook?
You noticed?
Emmrich, everyone noticed.
Well, it began when we spent some time together in the Memorial Gardens.
Don't, spirits hang around there?
Oh, a few, certainly.
Emmrich, you and Rook visit the necropolis lately?
Yes, I've been showing Rook around.
That have anything to do with the fancy dinner menu Manfred showed me?
He took... of course, those gilded edges.
It's sweet. You and Rook have fun.
Myrna, hello. I assume Vorgoth's not far behind.
We have her, Rook. We have her. We know exactly what she's planning.
The professor asked us to research the artifact that came into the possession of Johanna Hezenkos.
She carries a gloaming lantern.
That bad as it sounds?
They were fashioned in ages past by unscrupulous necromancers. The lanterns steal and concentrate life.
Johanna could use it to leech life from hundreds at a time. An endless source of power.
Sounds overcomplicated and like it could blow up in her face.
Oh, there's nothing Johanna will not risk for her ambitions. But we've found her.
She has returned to Blackthorn Manor.
Hezenkos intends to hold a soiree.
That can't be her whole plan.
No, but I propose a small group infiltrate Johanna's lair while she's distracted and destroy her lantern.
Let's do it.
Vorgoth and I must return to the necropolis.
Hunt well.
If only we could make Johanna see reason.
You tried before. She seems stubborn.
Perhaps that's why she attained immortality, while I quake on the threshold. If I make my own bid for lichdom. Oh, it's no use pretending this hasn't stirred up that old dread of my own mortality.
I'm always here to talk about it. You know that, right?
It's a comfort, darling. Truly, but... Oh, Johanna was never beset by these sort of fears.
Well, a little fear's healthy. You'll feel better once we crash her lair and destroy that lantern. Promise. These meetings can't be good for business. I'm here, Inquisitor. It isn't just Inquisitor, is it? You were someone before that.
Clan Llewellyn. We try to be no one you've heard of. Morrigan is holding a perimeter. We're alone. Tell me what Solus did at Elganon's ritual.
Sounds like you already know.
I need to hear it from you.
Elganon raised his archdemon. Solus got us out of there. We saved a lot of people.
You sound grateful.
Why not? He really did help.
It seems so. He's always thinking about where it ends. How many of his names do you know? God of Lies, Dreadwolf, Fen'Harel. They're titles he earned from enemies, followers, and fractured history. He and I shared another name. Vanan.
Your heart. He meant that much?
Yes, he did. You've spoken to him in your dreams. You felt the power of that mind. His love could burn against me like a bonfire. He seemed so kind, and wise, and sad, and looked at me as if I somehow mattered more than anything around us. For a time, I thought I would have followed anywhere he asked me to.
Did he try to get you to come with him on his quest to tear down the Veil?
No. In fact, he forbade me to join him. He said he didn't want me to see what he would become. But that wasn't quite the truth. He's a terrible liar.
He's the god of lies, Inquisitor.
Tricks and treachery, yes. Lies of the heart? No. He forbade me to join him because I might have changed his mind. And then he left enough clues for us to follow anyway.
Hold on. You think he wanted you to stop him?
His name is Solus. It means pride. Perhaps he couldn't change his mind himself and hoped that someone else could help him. Or maybe I'm the prideful one, imagining his broken heart so that I never have to face my folly. That I loved someone who made such grave mistakes, that I might love him still.
You almost sound like you're ready to join him in that prison in the Fade.
To give up the world for him? No. We've got to save it first. But after? If there were a way? If he felt the same? If I could leave the world behind and just have him? I don't know.
One thing I've learned in this job is that the people I need the most are people who can tell me when I'm wrong.
We all need that sometimes.
It sounds like that's what you were for Solus. If the two of you were better people together and you were happy too?
I was.
This is all hypothetical anyway. He's trapped in the Fade with no way out.
He's surprised us before. But enough about me. Tell me about you and Emmrich.
What? Who? How?
Morrigan has eyes everywhere.
Of course she does.
Emmrich, that rune you enchanted for me doesn't seem to do anything.
Well, that's true. Oh, I never aligned the etheric flows. How did I must have been distracted.
You have been a little lately. I mean, what with you and Rook becoming...
You noticed?
I'm sure you two getting together is... Only Rook's kinda younger, so...
It's not... What are you getting at, Harding?
You two are sort of moving quickly.
May we change topics?
There's the lantern. You gonna free the spirits inside?
We must, before we can destroy it.
Like back when you were freeing those spirits Hezenkos trapped in the manor? That took a lot out of you.
I must try, Rook.
Emmrich?
There are too many trapped spirits. I'm sorry. I can't. Another lash of power might end me.
What's that, Valkaran? Afraid to chance death for your precious spirits? For all your fine words on the subject, only I had the courage to risk my life for our art.
He's still got twice your backbone.
I see Valkaran somehow did net himself a paramour.
Johanna! Listen to me! You're right! I've never overcome fear of that final dark. I miss having a friend that could.
Yes. Always the idealist.
I'm sorry lichdom failed you. I swear I would have helped you had you come to me. But puppeting this creature...
Puppet? Puppet? Do you think I'm staying a failed lich? I won't command my greatest creation! I will become it! Scoffing colleagues, interfering Templars, inept rivals. You all have a place in my heart. And tonight you will fuel my ascension at the cost of your miserable lives. Move! You think you could stop me? Once I get rid of you, I will merge with my greatest work and conquer this city!
Emmrich, can she do that?
Yes! She's attempting full possession.
It's long enough to destroy that lantern.
With that much light inside it, the backlash.
We don't have a choice. Once I destroy you wretches, my union, my creation, will be complete. I'll crush you myself if I must. Touch it! You friends, die! I'll be sure to bury you and you
You can't free the spirits in that lantern?
It might kill me and not even work. No living thing can approach it and... Manfred! Come back!
Any last words, Volkaren, before I... Ugh, you miserable little...
Manfred!
Manfred knew you could do this. So do I.
By the spirits bound here, night and shadow, light and blood.
What are you doing?
Let your chains loosen. Let the fade draw close.
You'll never succeed, you old fool!
I release you to the air.
No! You small-minded...
Emmrich, how's Manfred holding together?
We must go to the necropolis. His body could only take so much. But I underestimated him, Rook. What bravery in the heart of the dead. And how he grew. Manfred disobeyed me beautifully. He was his own soul at the end.
Can you bring him back?
I will ask.
Emmrich Volkaren. You were not expected so soon.
If I can do anything to help.
Thank you. But this must come from me. My lord, I come regarding Manfred, my fallen companion.
Yes, there are ways to return his spirit. But should you do this, lichdom falls from your grasp.
What? Why?
Lichdom is long. If I'm to stand outside death, I must make peace with others passing through it.
What would we otherwise become? How many exceptions till tyranny? Revive him and remain mortal. Or let him slumber and join us.
Emmrich.
Manfred chose to help us. Am I too weak to accept his well-earned rest? I yearn for Lichdom Rook. That leap into something greater, that everlasting light. Do I revive him and live out my days? Or do I honor death by letting him rest? and protect this world through immortality.
Emmrich, lichdom is your life's work, your dream.
I imagined I knew its price. If I haven't even the strength to accept Manfred's sacrifice, I would outlive you all, Rook.
Would you still remember us?
Always. Kept alive in lichdom's immortal memory. Death's swift touch, held back for all time.
If you really want to go beyond death, I think you have what you need to let all of us rest.
And peace shall follow. You're right. After I make my farewells, I will undergo the last rites of lichdom. And Rook, thank you.
Why is it so cold in here?
Greetings.
Rook, you remember Vorgoth? We were discussing some preparations for my lichdom.
I shall be with you until the end.
Collecting your thoughts before the big day? Lots of them.
I've so much to do. Crafting a glamour, for example. After lichdom, I'll need an illusion of my mortal appearance for polite company.
Good call.
I've told Harding about the ritual. I'll inform the others afterwards. But there's something I need to speak to you about as well, dearest.
Whatever you need, I'm here.
Where to begin? Lichdom is a transformation of body and soul. A change in how I sense and feel. And I will still feel, but...
What are you saying?
Rook, dearest, I'm becoming undead.
I know.
When we met, I never imagined you'd be interested in... Then after you were, How can we be together once I go into death?
You're underestimating what we've got.
What are you saying?
Remember when we talked in the Memorial Gardens? About how you might be undead one day? I know things will be different when you're a lich. And weird. Maybe very weird. But I care about you, Emmrich. If you feel the same, we'll figure out the rest. Unless you think you'll be too busy with lichdom for me.
Never.
We have discovered more spirits causing ruin. Kindly correct them.
Thank you for coming, everyone. Please, bear with me. This will be rather difficult to explain. I may appear the same as always, as I stand before you, but I've recently undergone a ritual that...
I thought you'd have a skull face. Like a skeleton.
It must be his glamour. It's really something, Professor. I can't sense you're a lich at all.
Harding!
Oh, no. Was becoming a lich a secret?
So, the lich stuff is true, and you crossed that line.
A lich? Look at Emmrich. Flesh and blood and everything.
He looks pale.
He always looks pale.
I have questions.
You needn't speak about me as if I'm not here.
Just tell me you'll keep your skin on.
That's not how it...
I should take notes.
You look, why don't we just start from the beginning?
Are you satisfied? Yes, I have entered lichdom, and I am not an abomination, or a demon, or a disconsolate spirit. I have become something more. And yet I am still fully possessed of myself.
So you are a skeleton. Got it.
I wouldn't have helped Emmrich if I didn't trust him to...
Thank you, Rook. But please, allow me. I'd like to think some of us have become friends. I value that more than you might know. But I am changed, and I would never cause you distress by staying where I'm no longer welcomed.
You're no weirder than you were before.
I've seen worse with the Wardens.
You all... really?
I think you'll be fine.
Okay, now, question time.
Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. We face Gillenane soon. When we do, there's no reason you couldn't stay back a ways.
What?
I'll be far more difficult to kill. You needn't face her head on.
First, no. Second, what brought this on?
I can see the life course through you, my love. Like a thread of diamond flame. Yet, I will lose you to time, Rook. What if I can't bear that for eternity?
That's the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
What?
Remembering me forever?
I'm afraid I'll mourn you forever.
That's ridiculous.
Do you think so little of what I feel for you?
No.
Then you could act accordingly.
I'm not going to be afraid of dying just because you are.
Rook,
We should get ready. Have to leave soon. Stop moping over something that hasn't happened.
I am not moping.
You're overthinking it.
Rook, there are new realities I must face in this form.
You're gonna drag this out every time we go up against something dangerous?
Perhaps it might get you to listen.
I just want you to be happy, you idiot.
Rook,
We should get ready. Have to leave soon. Oh, Emmrich.
Even as I am, the mind is a victim of the heart.
Yeah, you're not great at holding stuff in. But don't mourn me forever. Promise?
Only if you pledge to be a bit more careful.
I can take care of myself.
We're heading into untold danger.
You can't be like this every time we face something big.
How can I not?
It's not my fault you're afraid to see me die.
Rook,
We should get ready. Have to leave soon. Why does Emmrich have to... I mean, I know he's just... Yeah, about that argument.
It's no time to apologize, is it?
We'll talk back home, Emmrich. I promise. What did
Darling, are you certain you're all right?
We've still got work to do. I can collapse when this is over.
Rook, let us send word to all our allies. Your only task for now should be to rest. I hope you're feeling more yourself soon. I'll be back.
Why do you look mortal? I thought no one in the necropolis minds that you're a lich.
I didn't want to alarm any citizens sheltering down here from Elganon's vulgar display of power. And the necropolis's enchantments will help detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
I thought so too. It was... Oh, I don't know what that was.
A dream, a reflexive curse you overcame with your own reflection.
I'm still not sure how I got out, or how you all heard me.
There are things in the Fade we cannot circumscribe. I'm grateful it returned what's most dear to me. But you've been through so much these past days, you must need rest.
Emmrich? You know, you don't have to hide your face from me.
I will let nothing part us again, my love. Not in this, nor any other world. Rook? Are you awake? It's morning, my love.
Are you sure?
Far above, the stars have just given way to the sun.
That is a beautiful way to see you woke me up at the crack of dawn.
I always used to get up about this time.
Ugh, God. It's so quiet.
The world waits above, but we have some time to tarry.
What should we do?
Whatever you desire.
You can see all these new things, Emmrich. Is there any way I can share that?
It's difficult for the living to dwell long where I am, my love. But, yes, for a little while.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is once more the eve before we face a god. I would move the world before I lost you again, my love. Oh, it is purest relief to see us all gathered safe and sound. We found Nev again at last. I'd feared the search might take ages. Elganon must fear what we might accomplish once we storm his tower.
We've already killed an archdemon and a god. We can do it again.
While Elganon's magic is fearsome, Solus is our true adversary. He is, however, a former spirit. As such, Solus cannot help but listen to appeals to his nature, his yearning for reflection.
I could try talking him down once I find him.
We should depart soon, dearest. How I wish we were already safely home together. I love you, my darling Rook.
I love you too, Emmrich.
Come what may, I will carry those words with me. I'd no idea we'd be drawn together when we first met. I shall treasure those memories into eternity. Come, my love, to battle together.
Stories are about change.
A man exploring worlds beyond mortal existence. There are stories of love.
But those stories aren't over.